Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Alberta News and Views. Today is April 1st, 2024. Justin Trudeau has increased the carbon tax on Canadians, and according to him, it is making us all richer. But we all know that is not true because we are going through a cost of living crisis, food crisis, housing crisis, drug crisis, crime, you name it. Canada is in full-bore crisis mode. Our productivity is in free fall. It is an emergency. It is just absolute chaos. But I'm not going to focus on the carbon tax because we all know about that. What I want you to focus on is this very important video that was, I think it was made about 3 or 4 days ago. It is from the Quebec Party. They know too that all roads lead to independence. It is the only way. The provinces must break away from the federal government to save what we have left. So the video, if you want to check it out, it is called Housing Crisis PQ Dismayed by Gov't and Trudeau's Conduct. It is from the Montreal Gazette, I believe. Now, what he's going to talk about, it's very important, and I'm actually going to show you this first before, so you understand a little bit of context. So he talks about that the government is they've subscribed to the Century Initiative. So without doing a huge video on that, the Century Initiative is just this. It is this right here. They want to increase the population of Canada to 100 million people by year 2100. So this is their policy. The world is changing at a rapid pace, and Canada is falling behind. Our population is aging, we are having fewer children, and our workforce is shrinking. If we stay the course, Canada's annual GDP growth will decline, along with our influence on the world stage. Growing our population to 100 million by 2100 would reduce the burden on government revenues to fund healthcare, old age security, and other services. It would also mean more skilled workers, innovation, and dynamism. Dynamism, weird, in the Canadian economy. 100 million. By 2100 is not just a number, it is a vision for the Canada we want to build for future generations. This was an initiative years ago. Governments have signed on to it. If you don't believe me, just go to their About page, go to Meet the Team. And of course, all of these people, Don Iveson from Alberta, you will recognize, if you're paying attention, you will recognize all of these names. They're on multiple committees in multiple provinces and multiple forms of government with all the same agenda, which is changing the population of Canada for economic growth. But we know that that is not working. We have a productivity issue. Canada is buckling under the pressure. All of our social programs are buckling under the pressure of complete incompetence. Either by incompetence or it is intentional. Either way, we are buckling under the pressure of this government and what it is doing to this country. So listen to this. This is very important because we now have politicians openly saying that the Trudeau government is responsible for all of the problems that we are facing right now, but they are acting like they just naturally occurred. This is a government that creates problems and swoops in with a solution. It is the oldest trick in the book for dirty politics. That's what this is. The same thing as the carbon tax. He takes your money and he gives a little bit back, and then he gaslights you and says, well, this is more than I just took from you, but you're broke. And he refuses to acknowledge that he is the one that made you broke, and he will constantly say to you, you are not broke, you are not broke, you are not broke. You are getting more money back, you are getting more money back. Repeat, repeat, repeat. That is the Liberal motto. Say it loud and long enough, and you will believe whatever it is they have to say and feed you, because that's what they're doing. When was the last time you heard them actually answer a question in question period or press conference or any time? Here we go. Check this out. It's really good.
Well, of course, the Legault government is not very proactive and is at fault here. But then it's ironic. It's a level of hypocrisy that is really impressive, that the federal government that has created the crisis of housing comes as a savior, trying to justify its existence by creating programs within the competence of provinces on a topic where they created the problem from A to Z.
It's a severe accusation. How can you say that?
They have imposed to Quebec an immigration, a temporary immigration and a permanent immigration through their powers at the borders, at the airport, and through a pressure, a constant pressure on Canada as a whole, because they are aligned with the Century Initiative. they have created a very big disbalance between offer and demand on the housing market that translated into unaffordable prices and unaffordable rents and a rise of the homelessness throughout Canada, including Quebec. And that was never negotiated with Quebec. That was never, they did it unilaterally, in which case you need to be in a mode of denial and hypocrisy to then show up in the competence of Quebec and say, I'll be the savior of the situation of all these people who can't find a house, who can't afford housing.
Measures are targeted for younger people, but don't you think that a renter's bill of rights, it's a good thing? Because we don't have a registry here in Quebec.
And I think Quebec should have such registry, but we cannot be defending ourselves against Ottawa cheating its own constitution on a daily basis. That's the issue at stake here. It's on every single topic. There's no respect for the fundamental rules that founded that country. It's just cheating all the time. So it creates a posture where the CAQ is on a defensive mode all the time, loses ground all the time, and obviously, even if Justin Trudeau is really weak, he doesn't care about the 89 MNAs of the CAQ. There is no bargaining power whatsoever. And it creates this situation of lack of respect of what the rules should be. That is, that this is a Quebec competence.
Do you think, do you agree with what Gabriel Nadeau-Dubois thinks, that tenants kind of lose out as Ottawa and Quebec fight over jurisdiction? And as you said yourself, such a registry might be a good idea, but as the two governments fight, tenants don't get to move ahead.
I'm very critical of the moral signaling of politicians who actually created this current housing crisis by telling everyone for years that we should have more and more and more temporary and permanent immigration. I'm critical of that moral signaling now of saying we are the solution to the housing crisis with a registry and we're willing to deal with Ottawa even though it's cheating the Constitution. All this is wrong. First thing we ought to do right now is to rebalance the offer and demand.
Yep.
And to help elderly people and people being evicted with better rights than what Duranceau has just gave them in the bill. I really tried to negotiate something before Christmas, but I didn't settle for the deposit of a law for marketing purposes. I really tried to get the end of the modification on the cession de bail, and I didn't get it because they don't give a beep.
They don't care, and he doesn't care about any of the outcomes. All roads lead to independence. He knows it. I know it. Everybody knows it.